Are you ready for war? Because I know I am. In Sun Tzu, The Art of War, every battle is won or lost before it's ever fought. Think about that for a second, because that couldn't be any more right. I'm going to teach you guys in this video how to give yourself the best freaking chances to buy that home and get a great deal on that home before you even talk to the seller, before you even step foot on the property. How are you guys? Joe Perez, Flipping Unleashed, and today we got some really cool stuff for you guys. One of the big keys that I want to teach you guys today, it's really important, is the research, is the due diligence. So today we're going to go over four keys to winning a battle before it was ever fought in the real estate investment industry. Number one, let's go after properties that have equity and hardship. So I'm talking about properties that are in foreclosure, properties that are delinquent with tax sales, the county, vacant properties, motivated realtors that have like some sort of inside scoop on a deal with like some motivated seller and they know something that's going on. I love those deals. Those deals are great because A, if they have equity and a hardship, then you're putting yourself in a situation where you're gonna get a motivated seller and they're deadline driven. They're usually going to be in a situation where they have to close very quickly. So the property in and of itself is your first chance, your first shot of winning the battle before it's ever fought, going after the right property. Hey guys, do me a favor. If you're enjoying the content, drop me a comment, ready for war, and that way I know it's helpful. Two, know your seller. That's really important. What does that mean, know your seller? Listen, we live in the information age. The more you know about the seller, the better the chances, the higher the likelihood that you can relate to them, establish a rapport. And nowadays, you have this beautiful thing that I didn't have. You guys have these great gifts. We didn't have all this social media. We didn't have all this online presence. Nowadays, you can go online and you can learn everything you want about a seller. Absolutely everything. You can go on their LinkedIn, their Facebook, and Instagram, all that stuff. You can learn so much about them, okay? And that'll help you afterwards. And you say, well, Joe, why is that helpful to know that? Well, listen, you need to know what motivates people. Social media will tell you what motivates them. It'll tell you what they like or what they don't like. It'll tell you if they're in a situation where they're going through hardship is based because they're going through death, disease, divorce. All those things are relevant, right? For example, let me tell you the cat story. This is a lady, great deal that we got out in Orange County, who loved cats. I mean, she really, really loved cats. I think she had like 7 or 8 cats in the property, okay? But we knew all this because of her social media. Her social media was just covered with pictures of cats. And you could see in the background of the pictures of her home, there was all kinds of like cat things, like cat statues and cat picture and toys for cats and all that. So it was very obvious what her hot button was. Well, let me tell you, we got this deal and we got a great deal on it. And one of the first things that we did is we found this like boutique company online that sold like these kits of all like these cool trinkets for cats, different toys and like sweaters and all that stuff. It's a big basket like this, all wrapped. Well, on our first meeting with her, we showed up with that. What a game changer that was. Just by having that and knowing that, we knew her hotspot. The other thing I like to do is talk to the neighbors. You know, in every neighborhood, there's always what I call a nosy or informed neighbor, okay? And you gotta love those, okay? It's not like when I was growing up, we were having parties and the neighbor called and complained, whatever. Well, we didn't like them then. But nowadays, that nosy neighbor is your friend, is your tool, and your ally. And they'll tell you the story. You have to knock on enough doors. I find that if you go 3 doors in every direction, or usually the one across the street, they know. There's somebody there who knows the story, and not only knows the story, but they're gonna tell you the story. They're gonna tell you everything. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, she's sick. She hasn't been in that home now for 3 months. She's actually in a nursing facility. You're like, oh really? And where is the nursing facility? Oh, I don't know. I think it's right nearby here. I think it's like 10, 15 minutes away, whatever. You have to go now and do your private detective work, call the local nursing facilities and find that person. But you just got a ridiculous piece of inside information that none of your competitors have because you did the research ahead of time. Number 3, how to approach the seller. Approaching the seller. I gotta tell you, my favorite technique for approaching the seller is I like to do it in person. I like to approach the seller in person. And now I have an idea of what to say, what not to say, right? If the seller's going through divorce, I learned that from social media. I'm probably not gonna wanna sit there and talk about my wife and I and how long we've been married and things like that and how beautiful marriage is. That probably wouldn't be the smart thing to say, right? But if possible, approach the seller in person. I like that. And even if possible, also a good way to bond is take them out to eat. That will increase the probability of you closing the deal if you get them away from the house sometimes and go somewhere where you're breaking bread. It's very comfortable. They tend to lower their guard, you know. There's a subliminal issue involved when two people break, or three, four people, whatever, they break bread together, right? You're gonna find that seller be more relaxed. And once again, if that's possible, sometimes you can't go to their home. Sometimes they're somewhere else, or in a nursing home. I already told you, if that's the case, bring something. Bring some books, things like that, whatever, right? Now, if that's not possible because they're too far away, let's say they're out of state, you know, and it's too far because we've gone out of state before. We've sent people out of state, but let's say it's not, then there's other cool things you can do. You can write them a nice personalized letter with pictures of the home or something, or include some pictures or include something in the personalized letter, you know? I bought this really cool kick-ass property near the water, very close to the water, and this was from an out-of-state seller. And you know, we just did one cool technique. We noticed that on social media, we noticed that on certain events, when she had gotten flowers, she put them in a vase and put water, so we knew she liked flowers. So guess what we did? We sent flowers to her work. So that was a great way for us to approach the person and approach the person in a way that had like true meaning to them, okay? So remember, doing the research is important, and also it's not just what you learn, but incorporating that into a plan on how to approach the seller. And then number 4, get educated. I can't stress that enough. Get educated. Know this word, ethos. Ethos is a fundamental form of persuasion. It is the audience's perceived credibility of the speaker. This world is about persuasion, and this business is about persuasion. And don't have any misunderstandings. It is about persuasion, because you're going to try to persuade that seller to take your offer. And one of the fundamental ways that you can persuade somebody is if you appear to be credible, right? Because they have to trust you. They have to trust what you're saying. They have to believe in what you're saying. And they have to believe you can solve their problem for them. Now, I'm not saying that you got to go out there and be a real estate expert. What I'm saying is that you don't have to be a real estate expert in this world. You just got to be an expert in their eyes. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that in the land of the blind, one-eyed man is king, okay? So learn some things. Take some courses. Watch my videos. Read books. Do everything you possibly can and pick up things. And please don't say, oh, well, Joe, I'm busy. I'm tired. I can't do this. Let me tell you guys something. I went to law school when I was working full-time. I was a father full-time. I was a husband. I mean, I wore a freaking lot of hats. And I still went to law school. And I tried to complain with one of my law professors one time. And you know what he says, Joe? He was so right. He says, there's always a way. He says, you know, Joe, next time you go and you take a dump, you put flashcards on the back of your toilet. When you wait for that hot water in the shower to warm up, I want you to look at those flashcards. At night before you go to bed, I want you to look at 2 or 3. When you're sitting in your car and your car is warming up, I want you to look at 2 or 3 of the law school flashcards. So my point is that you guys can do this. You absolutely can do this. And what you're gonna find is those minutes here or there that you're doing that throughout the day, they will add up. And you will learn some really cool things, and you're gonna learn the terminology. And if you can speak basic real estate terminology, that'll probably be sufficient for the seller. Because most of the times, the seller's not gonna be a real estate expert. So they're not gonna know what they're looking for. They're just gonna be looking for someone who sounds like they reasonably know what they're talking about. And that's what you need to do. Reasonably sound like you know what you're talking about. So you have to educate yourself. So you guys, listen, these are great techniques that I have used throughout my career, and they're trial tested. They work, okay? So remember, study this thing. If you need to, watch this video 2 or 3 times, okay? Because remember, in this line of work, You don't have to be right every time, and you don't got to close every deal. You're going to find that you need to be consistent, but you're going to find that some deals are going to be way better than others. And you're going to be so thankful that day you get a deal because you're going to remember some clue you got from this video or from that video or whatever. So take the time, apply it. I bet you could easily, from this video, write 8 to 10 flashcards, okay? Use the techniques. I promise they'll work. And once again, if you like the content, if it makes sense, you think it's gonna help you, help me. Subscribe to my videos, like the videos, so I can keep giving you guys all this cool content.